They say you must speak to be heard. But what if silence is the loudest thing in the room? What if explaining yourself, justifying every move, every thought, is the very thing that's killing your power? Have you noticed something? The strongest people in the room often say the least. There's a reason for that. There's a reason the ancient Stoics didn't argue, didn't chase approval, didn't explain. In a world screaming for attention, the man who doesn't need to be understood becomes magnetic. But here's the truth. Explaining yourself is a form of begging for validation, for acceptance, for someone, anyone, to say, "You're right, you're good enough." And the moment you need that, you've already given away your strength. Real power is quiet. It doesn't shout, it doesn't prove, it simply is. That's the Stoic habit no one talks about. So let me ask you, why do you explain? To clear your name? To win people over? Or because deep down, you're afraid of being misunderstood? If that's true, maybe it's time to question the habit, not the silence. Think about the last time you felt the urge to explain yourself, to justify a decision, to prove that your actions were pure, that your heart was in the right place. Did explaining bring you peace? Did it earn you respect? Or did it drain you? Because here's the Stoic truth. People don't hear your explanations. They hear your insecurity. When you explain too much, you're saying to the world, "I need you to understand me." And that is neediness disguised as logic. Now imagine the opposite. You make a choice. Someone questions it, and you say, nothing. You don't defend. You don't justify. You let your silence answer for you. Suddenly your presence changes. You're not the man seeking permission. You're the man who acts from principle. That is power. Not loud, not aggressive, but firm, steady, unshakable. Here's what makes it even more powerful. The less you explain, the more people lean in. They wonder, what does he know that we don't? Most people speak to defend themselves because they haven't yet accepted who they are. They think if others misunderstand them, it means something is wrong. But a Stoic knows this. Misunderstanding is normal. You are not responsible for what others assume. You are responsible for your values, your actions, your direction. Everything else, just noise. And noise is not your job to clean up. When your identity depends on being understood, you'll shapeshift to please the crowd. But when your identity is rooted in truth, you can be misread, misjudged, even rejected, and still remain whole. This is why Stoics don't explain. They aren't avoiding conflict. They're avoiding compromise of the self. And when you stop explaining, something strange happens. People get uncomfortable. They project. They assume. Some will even call you cold. Let them, because their discomfort is their own confrontation with your calm. Your silence forces reflection, not just in them, but in you. When you stop explaining, you start conserving energy. Energy that was once wasted on arguments is now directed toward growth. And the more you grow in silence, the louder your presence becomes. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome. He ruled not by endless speeches, but by the calm weight of his actions. He wrote in private journals, not to prove himself, but to guide himself. And centuries later, his words still carry more power than most voices alive today. That is the paradox of silence. It survives longer than noise. Noise fades, but silence lingers. Now ask yourself, what would happen if you embraced this habit? If you stop defending every choice, if you let your actions speak louder than your explanations, people would call you distant, mysterious, even arrogant. But watch closely. Those same people will begin to respect you. Because respect is not earned by explaining. It is earned by embodying. The Stoics knew this. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And freedom begins when you no longer beg for understanding. So the question is simple. Will you keep wasting breath on those who will never truly hear you? Or will you reclaim your silence, and with it, your power? Every time you explain, you give away a little piece of yourself, a piece of your certainty, a piece of your calm, a piece of your power. But when you stay silent, you grow heavier. People feel it, they notice it, and they start to lean toward you, not because you demanded their attention, but because your silence demanded their respect. This is what the Stoics practiced. Not the pursuit of being liked, but the pursuit of being whole. Not chasing applause, but building unshakable presence. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength is not in convincing others. It is in mastering yourself." So let this moment be your reminder. You don't need to explain. You don't need to convince. You only need to act in alignment with your values. And if this message resonates with you, if you feel the weight of these words, consider subscribing, not for me, not for this channel, but for yourself, as a commitment to your own growth, as a reminder that every day is a chance to choose silence over noise and strength over approval. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence. It is the space where your power gathers, where your dignity sharpens, where your self-respect takes root. The world will tempt you to explain, to justify, to defend. But every time you resist that urge, you step closer to freedom. Epictetus taught, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." He understood that explanation is a trap, and freedom comes only when you no longer need permission to be yourself. So let them misunderstand you. Let them judge you. Let them call you silent, distant, or cold. Because one day, they will realize that your silence was not weakness. It was strength. And when that day comes, you will not need to say, "I told you so." Your life will speak for you. So ask yourself, today, right now, will you keep begging to be understood? Or will you walk the harder path, the Stoic path, the path of quiet power? The choice is yours. But remember this: real power does not explain. Real power simply is.